just want to recap a little bit. We're talking about BodyTalk. And just for you who are new or just forgot what it's about, it's a healing modality that was started back in the mid-'90s by Dr. John Valtime.
He's from Australia, right?
And he is from Australia, and he's quite a character. I've had the honor to meet him.
Most Australians are.
He's very down to earth.
Yes.
And he's basically studied health since he was 8 years old. And lately, very much interested in the brain and how it functions. But his interest spans all kinds of healing modalities, including Western medicine.
Yeah.
And so BodyTalk is based on the foundation of the understanding that our body has the capacity to heal.
Yeah.
If you get a minor cut, it usually heals, no problem.
You get a sunburn, like a lot of people did this weekend.
Exactly.
Your body's mostly going to heal itself.
So, but then stress happens, accidents happens, trauma happens, and the communication that needs to happen in the body, the balancing, synchronization, things working together, get disrupted.
Yeah.
And that's where BodyTalk comes in, because it's all about reestablishing balance so your body can heal itself.
And sometimes, what a great explanation, Tone-Lise. Sometimes it helps to realize that we start to get overwhelmed. We start to feel frustrated. We start to feel like our brain is starting to explode. I had somebody today tell me that they just felt like they were going in many, many directions. So it's those type of symptoms that your body mind is giving you that wouldn't be covered by going to a doctor to say, I feel overwhelmed. I feel whatever.
And there's a lot of stuff that just modern medicine doesn't have a pill or a treatment for.
And rightly so, since we are dealing with the natural body's ability, capacity, I like that word, to heal. And so when you're starting to realize that you have added factors, we just got done with Mandan's fireworks. They're beautiful, but they allowed them to be shot off until 2 a.m. in the morning. And you go the second, third, and fourth of not really getting to sleep until 2.
Yeah.
That's called burning the candle at both ends. And yet you don't want to be frustrated. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And Stacy had the great reminder of what the counties are like.
Oh, yeah. Well, and actually, I sort of missed that because we had no fireworks this year. We're in town. We're in the city of Bismarck right now. And I remember last year and the past 6 or 7 years we lived out at our house where we, have evacuated from. Just being so angry, like, oh my God, people, go to bed. You're supposed to stop. Fireworks, I think, actually are supposed to stop at like 1 o'clock in the morning out in the county. But people would do it till 3 or 4. They didn't care because, honestly, our sheriffs are really going to make a call because fireworks are shot off late.
Hard to police that.
It's hard to police that. So they would shoot it up, and I used to just get so mad because, like you said, it would be 3 days of no sleep, and we had a dog that was so scared of fireworks and just hated it. He would bark all night until they were done, and I'd have to give him a sedative. Like, it was really bad. But now, and then our kids, he'd wake up our kids too. It was a mess. But then this year was a really silent 4th of July, and I almost sort of missed it.
Isn't that? There's your balance onto that. But the one thing with Mandan last night when I was starting to get tired, I want to bring it back to BodyTalk. I just keyed into the fact of this was an environmental factor. This was an outside force that was affecting me. First of all, I recognized it. Then I was able to focus on the fact that I had no control over it. I sure wasn't going to go screaming at these people. Couldn't do any good.
Right.
To internalize that anger would have done nothing for me at all. So instead, cortices, which is the refocusing of the brain, I always love to say it, to bring the mind back online.
Right.
Letting yourself know that you've gone over too far to one side. Cortices that you can learn on our website, www.bodytalk4u.com.
It's under the resources, is that right?
Under the resources.
The resources tab. Okay.
And the 12-minute video done by the man that Tone-Lise mentioned, Dr. John Valtime, just to give you a simple process that you can use to calm yourself down.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah. Now, and I just want to add again back to BodyTalk. What does it do? What does it help with? And Belle, you mentioned environmental stress. We all get stressed from the environment at times, unless we're enlightened, that is, whether it's a job issue or family issue, relationship issue, flood issue, you name it.
road rage driving. I see people all the time honking at each other down here on this at this stop sign down here, and I just sort of laugh.
And one thing that can happen and this is another, I just want to mention another technique, just to bring in a little bit concrete things that can come up in body talk, is what we call switching. When you are in fight or flight mode a lot, which a lot of people today are, they're stressed, they're overworked, they're overwhelmed, and they have a hard time getting into that rest and restore mode. And what happens, the whole body mind can become switched, so to speak. So you can't think clearly. You mix up left with right.
Right with wrong.
Yes.
That's definitely right with wrong.
And that's one way we can also help you in body talk, by helping you be better able to deal with stress. And so you don't become as stressed. We've had several clients who come back and say, I didn't get this upset this time.
Right.
So they know that they're better able to handle things coming their way.
And I like that cortices, as Dr. Veltheim will talk to you too, has an accumulative value. Mm-hmm. The more you do that, the more you do the process, the more you become adapted. You do a habit. I was talking this morning about we get into a habit, and if that habit is the wrong one, we're just going to continue. Our body doesn't care, and our mind doesn't care. It takes the easiest path.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't, we wouldn't have anybody who ate that pie that they weren't supposed to. We wouldn't have anybody that jaywalked. We wouldn't have anybody that would scream or yell. And if it wasn't the easiest path that we're just used to.
Right.
So when you do the cortices, when you do the switching, when you do body talk, it stores into the body mind. I love using it that way. It's like a storehouse. So then when you need to draw on that, because guess what? Stress happens, trauma happens, and we don't have any control over it. That's what body talk does.
Now, for people sort of out there wondering, body talk, it's an actual science that you use training for, because like you said this morning, you had a client that was like, well, this isn't covered by insurance. So he made it sound like it must not be a valid thing because insurance doesn't cover it. But there's been all sorts of things insurance hasn't covered that are good for you anyway, like chiropractic care. So body talk is an actual science. There's a method behind the madness, right?
Well, and I liked what Tone-Lise said when she introduced Dr. Veltheim. He has several different titles that he's got. Help me to yell on that. He's got chiropractor.
He's a chiropractor. He's a Reiki master, which is a hands-on healing modality. Yep. He also is trained in homeopathy, and he has knowledge within herbs. He is an acupuncturist, so very knowledgeable and enthusiastic about Chinese medicine. So he brings that into body talk. And just to give you an example, we always ask for priorities when we work with somebody using a muscle test, a form of feedback from your innate intelligence or organizing intelligence. And once in a while, actually it comes up quite often, that one of the meridians, which is an energy path going through your body, can be imbalanced or stuck or and that's
a meridian is an actual thing. It's not like a crazy thought. Like a meridian is a actual thing.
Yes, and Chinese medicine, which is amazing, goes back like 3,000 to 5,000 years. You know, where they found out these energy pathways. And you can tap into these different energy points as well. With the
sources is what I think.
Acupuncture.
Or acupressure. Some people have experienced acupressure, which also works.
That's why when you bring up this Chinese thing, I sort of laugh because I'm like, well, this is what we do in America. The doctor gives you a pill, you're done, or you get a surgery, you're done. So are you going to go over to China and tell all these people, these billion people, that what they have been doing is wrong for centuries and centuries because it wouldn't be covered under our insurance?
And that's such an interesting point, though.
There's a whole country that has been very healthy and happy and prosperous.
But they're not as much anymore.
No, because they've been eating our crappy food.
And not only that, the old ways are not necessarily the new ways.
Yeah.
They went through
They've switched a little bit.
revolution.
Yeah.
A lot of them were removed or killed or whatever.
And Western comes in to China, and Western medicine, if we're going to use it, Western traditions, Western ways, are hitting China just as much. So the same Chinese masters that you are talking about are also struggling to tell the younger generations that this works.
And I think they're trying, now the Chinese culture is trying to work on bringing it back. But there's examples, like was one physician I was reading about, and he was taking, more and more physicians are taking maybe 3 months of acupuncture, or they can take a class. You know, there is more that opportunity now. And he was just in awe because instead they were going to do a surgery. And instead of using medication, they used simply acupuncture. And the patient didn't feel anything without any side effects or, so very safe.
Yeah.
Same time.
Non-invasive at all. Your body, when you go through surgery, it's something you really should dwell on. Think about, ponder it is our word that we have here. Because whenever the body is cut, exposed to the outside world in an unnatural way, it goes into shock. You are taking a traumatic incident and balancing yourself. That's a great example.
So back to the meridian. So that can actually come up in BodyTalk that we balance. It's BodyTalk acupuncture, or doing acupuncture in a simplified, but it can be very effective way.
Yeah.
And back to Veltheim, where we started, his background. Another thing I want to tell, because this is just fascinating, he has spent years working on his mind, developing the capacity of the mind through meditation, through visualization, and the stories he tells of what he's been able to accomplish. And he says, this doesn't make me special. This is something we all have the ability to do if we have the discipline to train our mind. So there's other classes within his system that very much goes on how do you utilize your mind better too. Just want to throw
and
that
if
in.
you want to, then let me use this as an example, because if you want to do what you're talking about, you're into more of the upper training here of BodyTalk too. Cortices is the start.
Yeah,
Cortices is the one that says this will restore clarity, because if you're going to allow your mind to focus, to be able to reveal these things you're talking about, to be able to see where your strengths, your weaknesses are, and to be able to accept them, the self-acceptance of self-esteem is what I always think of with that. You've got to start somewhere in controlling that mind.
And just to mention again, you can watch the 12-minute video on how to do this brain balancing technique simply by going to our website, bodytalkforyou.com, spelled out, and just go under resources and it'll say IBA video, the International Body Talk Association's video. And you'll also get a feel for Dr. Veltheim and how he explains it.
Okay. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about, you guys have a presentation coming up again soon, right?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk a little bit more about BodyTalk and how you guys can help people out. And if there's anything you want to hear today, people, email me, Stacy at urlradio.net. That's STACY at urlradio.net. It's going to be a very nice day out today. It looks like we've sort of seen our high. We're supposed to get up to 83 today. Tonight, mostly clear, 58. Tomorrow, chance of some thunderstorms. A little bit of rain might actually be nice now. But the problem is it's still going to be 86 tomorrow. So there's a chance of some severe thunderstorms along with that. Right now, Dickinson is sunny and 80. Minot, sunny 78. Fargo, sunny 82. Here in Bismarck and Mandan, we are sunny and we're at 80. It's warm out at urlradio.net.
I'm going to remember that in January when we're here and we're saying this.